Hey, we're live.
X.
There we go.
Do not move off the X. Don't be blinded. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for coming out to our discussion about Reconstruction. This is an exciting meeting and an exciting day for us, especially some of us who have been at STEM for the long haul. We've been here since we've just had the east side, then we had the entire bottom, then we had the whole building, and we worked through a couple of other initiatives of trying to get a bond passed. So as we move forward and looking forward to this election in November, we've done some preliminary work around the possibility of reconstruction on our site. And I know that makes everybody happy as we've been through the struggles of water main breaks, rooms that are freezing and kids are wearing coats, rooms that are hot, almost 90 degrees, HVAC issues all over the place, boiler issues, water main issues. So it's an exciting time for us about the possibility. It's an exciting time for everyone across the district because this bond means so much to every student in the district, every building in the district. Okay, so thank you for coming. I'm going to do a couple of introductions, well, quite a few. We have a lot of district people out tonight to help facilitate conversations and answer questions and lead parts of the PowerPoint. You guys hear enough from me. So I thought I'd share the love and have other people also present. For those that don't know me, I'm Tracy Tallinger, the principal, in case I missed that. But as I look around, I'm like, I think everybody knows me. So welcome again for coming out tonight. In the back, we have to do one introductions and titles because I don't want to mess up the titles. Okay.
Mark Bushek, Community Engagement Specialist for the Communications Department. I'm Pat Hamilton. I'm the Interim Chief Operations Officer for the district.
Hello, everyone. I'm Joe Cordani, Communications. Hi, I'm Paul Kastner of 39 Design and the project architect for the design.
Executive Director of Schools. I'm Teresa Wick. I'm the Construction Project Manager, and I'll be head of this project.
Marking and coordinating our district.
And Ian Shields is here, our assistant principal, and he's probably helping get the kids set up. We do have lots of high school volunteers helping out tonight with childcare, so hopefully things will get settled in there shortly. All right, so I'm going to review the agenda for tonight so you know what to look forward to. I know everybody's anxious just to start looking at floor plans, but there's a couple of things that we want to cover with you prior to us breaking out and getting some feedback. So, Pat Hamilton's going to talk about why we're planning a major reconstruction, in case you had no idea why we would need that. Then we're going to go over some of the design review, next steps, and then we'll do our feedback groups and break out into smaller groups. Right now we're prepped for 4 breakout sessions. Not quite sure if we'll need that many. We'll see if anybody else trickles in. We might have a few less. All right. Mr. Hamilton.
I didn't know there was like an option to hang out with the kids. I did see some kids carrying basketballs in. It's like, oh, that looks fun.
Oh, that way.
Yeah.
So this is where you have to stand because we're streaming it. Nice.
Oh, hey, look at that. You
Yeah.
stand.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, do I look at that or, sorry. All right, good. So we're going to talk to you a little bit, and I'll be brief because I think you all do want to get to the floor plans and talk about that stuff. So I don't think I have to tell you too much about deferred maintenance for this facility, but this building has been around for quite a long time, and the district mothballed the building, and we were going to demo the building and actually completely tear it down. And ended up in a spot where we were leasing the space for a while and then had a concept for STEM that we needed to fulfill in our district and decided we would open a small STEM that would be and how that would work. Wildly successful, has resulted in STEM launch, STEM at Northland High School. As frankly, it's impacted how we deliver education throughout the district and will continue to do so. We need to make a significant reinvestment in this facility. We have, frankly, a lot of deferred maintenance, more than we would want to deal with. It'd be easier for us or better for us just to demo the old part of this building and to move on to a new future for STEM. So this summer, I think you saw a lot of construction around the facility already. We did $1.2 million in work this summer just to kind of keep the building ready to go. Also to prepare it for a new addition, or if we don't do a new addition, that's work that we'll continue on and we'll use for the deferred maintenance stuff. So it wasn't money that we were spending in hopes of the bond. It was money that we had to spend to keep the building operational for this school year. And for STEM programming, obviously when we built the program or built it out to a full K-8, there's been desire that whole time to make this a 3-round school. We're currently at 2 rounds, and so we need to add additional classroom space to do that. We do have a 400 wait list right now for this, so we would like to address that issue as well. And then lastly, we're committed to a significant reinvestment into Northland, and our community of Northland, and I think Northland is very receptive to that as well. In fact, they just a few weeks ago passed a resolution in support of the bond. So they're very happy that we're making this reinvestment in this community as well. Next slide. Yeah. So this is one of our biggest projects for the bond, this upcoming bond. In fact, the school is slated to have $16 million invested in it total. If you were to take architectural engineering fees and things like that, it actually creeps up closer to the $20 million reinvestment into the school. And it results in an amazing school, and it's going to be a beautiful thing, and I can't wait for you all to see that. Bond were not to be successful, we will continue with our plan of a reinvestment of this facility, but it will be significantly less. It will be an additional $7.5 million to the 1.2 that we've already spent, and it will only be to make repairs. So the building will look and feel the same when you walk into it next school year. It's not going to look any different. And it's really just, it's $7.2 million worth of Band-Aids, which is a lot of Band-Aids. I would much rather spend $16 million on this facility and have something that we can all be very proud of, and it's new, and it's a beautiful place for our kids to come to school. So that's my spiel. I won't say appeal. Thank you, internet people. And Teresa, who's the project manager, who just introduced herself, is coming up next. And you have to stand over here, Teresa, so you can be on camera.
I'm gonna have to join.
Oh, okay. Well, we maybe can adjust
The
that.
internet people get to look at my fabulously tall shoes.
Do you need this? You don't need this. All right.
So I'm going to kind of walk you guys through it. As you may or may not have heard, and you probably have heard, because there's been signs throughout the neighborhoods and stuff, that we've been working on site plans for a little while now. The difficult part with this project, unlike brand new construction, when we had a blank slate, pardon my French, and I have a twang, I apologize. Right now, y'all will happen here in a second, so let me just go ahead and apologize in advance. But when you have a new school, you have basically a blank canvas, and you get to start from scratch, and you get to design what you want, where you want, how you want it, give or take just some minor, I guess you could say, difficulties such as utilities and stuff like that. With a site like this, we have a lot more difficulties, and you can even ask our architect. We would love to have the new Anthem School as be our project, because that is almost easy compared to trying to do a school that is this age, that is this complicated, that has this many Band-Aids or systems that are starting to fail. So with this project, some of our biggest restraints that we're first and foremost met with is just the site and the property lines. The red lines that you see throughout, that is the district property line. And so originally, we didn't know if we were going to be able to stay within our property lines or if we were actually going to have to encroach upon the park. We talked to the city, met with them several times, and they were actually very open to us using part of the park if we needed to, as long as we kind of met some of their, guidelines, like keeping the park as one consistent park. If we had to take away the tennis courts, that we would rebuild, that kind of stuff. Luckily, through multiple schemes that we did, and you can ask how, we did multiple schemes, of how we thought the school could possibly work. Pat's favorite was what we like to call a dedication bridge all the way down to Holstrom, which was a very long and just not real effective, addition.
Not my favorite.
We're going to call it the Memorial Pat Hamilton Bridge.
My favorite.
But what we did find is that we know we can make this happen within the property lines. It's going to be difficult. I am not going to kind of lie or just smooth talk anybody. This is not going to be an easy process. The construction is going to be difficult, but I have no doubt that we're going to make this happen. And at the end of construction, we're going to have a fabulous building, not only for just the community itself, but also for your students. And it's going to work better for the STEM program. And so that's our ultimate goal. So this is your building as it exists today. I don't think this probably surprises too many of you. What you guys know probably the most is this right here, which is where all the traffic gets congested and everything. And here in a second, we'll show you the next site plan. And I'm not gonna lie, it's still not gonna solve the traffic problems. It's going to improve upon the traffic problems because let's face it, I don't think you can get much worse than this. But currently, the way your drop off goes, as you all know, is you've got either this choice and you drop off at the front, or you do have kind of the kiss and go up on the top. And other than that, this is your existing building right here. So the game plan is when the bond passes, the objective is to tear down the entire west half of the building, which basically will be from the point we are standing all the way to the west. So this room in itself will also be torn down and kind of incorporated into the new facility. So what that will leave is everything on the east side, which for the most part is your core curriculum items, your cafeteria, your gymnasium, and stuff like that that will be used by all the students. Where that creates a little bit of difficulty is all the classrooms obviously are on the west side. So in order to make the construction phasing work, what we're proposing to do, be good, you can flip to the next slide, is what we're proposing to do is the first portion will be this addition right here, which obviously, yes, it will be on top of the playgrounds. And there will be some difficulties because we're going to have to do without the playgrounds for a little while. To what extent, we're not real sure. We're going to have all the equipment. We will relocate the equipment. It's just a matter of where and when we relocate the equipment. Luckily, with the park being right here, the kids will still get recess. We will figure something out. We're just not that far along in the design yet to have a fully figured out idea of how we plan on using this. So what we're going to do is build this addition first. And with this addition, we've got enough classrooms over here to house all of the classrooms for the 2 round courses. So everything from kindergarten all the way through 8th grade will all be housed over here. So originally, we will build that wing while your original building right here with the dotted lines is still going underway. Everything on the site will just remain as normal, like it is right now with the kids on this half of the building, while the contractors are over there building that new wing. Once they finish that wing, all the kids and everything get transitioned over there, and that is when the contractors will demo this half of the building and then start the new addition over here. Let's see, I don't forget a lot of stuff. Just kind of got sidetracked. So with that, let's talk just a little bit about the site plan. So now, as you can see, it looks kind of similar, but instead of kind of going up and out, now we're going to be feeding the traffic all the way up and out that direction, with the actual drop-off portion being right there in blue. The main entry will be moved from right here, where everybody is tempted and wants to drop your kids off at the front door. Now we'll be dropping the kids off over in this area because this is your new front door. Is it going to fix the problem? No. Is it going to alleviate the problem? We're hopeful. That's our goal. So with that, let me just talk a little bit too about just the difficulties of this building, like I said, and it's kind of in contrast to an actual new construction. And that just being the fact that these are old systems and it's parts of the building, they have to stay. So like I said, the east half of the building, this is where it kind of gets a little tricky. And how do you say this nicely? We have a program in the district. So the district, when we started new to school, we have what's called a program. And it's basically just a very large Excel spreadsheet that tells the architect everything that we need them to design. So we want you to put, hypothetically, 30 classrooms, 1 gymnasium, 1 cafeteria, this many offices, this many bathrooms, and together with that program, as well as all the building codes they have to follow, that's how they design the spaces that we need. The STEM lab, this building, while it's going to be fabulous, we are going to have to make a little bit of sacrifices in what we've gotten used to here. One of the biggest sacrifices, unfortunately, that we have to make in order to meet the program and match the budget is the second gymnasium. So the second gymnasium, while it's great, and Tracy is just fabulous at using that, especially for the PPL learning and stuff like that, it is not part of the Adams 12 K through 8 standard program. It's a luxury, actually. And it's been a luxury, and this school's been great at using it to its benefit. But unfortunately, it's those kind of things that we are just tied really tightly for square footage, mainly for cost. And so what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to tighten our belts, and Tracy has already worked with us a lot in tightening that belt. And so we're able to make that space work because we need the square footage. But that gymnasium is now gonna become your new music rooms. And it's gonna be it's gonna be a great space. We're just repurposing that. But with that being said, what we will do is we will revamp your existing large gym that's really not being used because, let's face it, everybody likes the new gymnasium, so everybody uses that. So now we're gonna revamp your gymnasium, fresh lights, new curtain dividing wall that will just split the gymnasium in two. So essentially, you will have 2 gymnasiums, but it will be in 1 large room that you've currently already got. Along with that, new bleachers, so it will feel like a competition gym, just like Holstrom got, just like STEM launched. All the other K through 8 schools that we've got in this district. But unfortunately, like I said, we've gotten used to that second gym, and while it's been a great luxury, unfortunately, the budget and the square footage, we kind of need that space back. So I just kind of want to preface that to kind of let you guys know that this building is going to be great. I'm determined. It's complicated and it's not going to be easy, but I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to make this work, because I'm also not going to deny the budget is extremely tight. And so we're just going to have to buckle down and do everything we can to make this happen. But I'm excited about it because it's going to create just a great learning opportunity, and we plan on incorporating the STEM just vibe into this building. I think this can be just a great learning tool. So the building doesn't need to be just a building. It can also teach and educate your kids to incorporate the design that way. Now, with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Paul, the architect, and he's going to walk you guys through what you really care about, because y'all are tired of listening to me talk. So I'll hand it over to him, and he can walk you guys through the floor plan.
Thanks, Teresa. My name is Paul Kastner. I'm with 3890 Design. For a little over 16 years, and 6 of those years I've worked in this building, so I know it.
We keep them busy.
Definitely a challenge, but that's what I like. So what we're looking at is trying to repurpose the center of the building as best we can to fit this new program, the K-8 program that Adams 12 has. And so it means a lot of the spaces will stay. The gymnasium, as Teresa spoke with. And we will lose the small gym, but we are gaining a fitness room. A fitness room is about 1,600 square feet. So that'll be a great space to do aerobics. It works really good for little guys to go and play games and such. But we'll still have a large gym, and we'll update the curtain and such and bleachers. So it'll be a lot nicer than it is today. The other thing to note is the building will get an entire new mechanical system. So the cold rooms, hot rooms, that's going to be a thing of the past. So how we've laid out the building is in the center is the existing east half of the building. We've set that up to be the spaces that are going to be shared by all students, K through 8. So it's centrally located, so they'll feed from all spaces. What's within that space are 4 middle school science rooms, an elementary science room, 2 art rooms, a teacher's lounge, and then we're going to keep the kitchen because that's an extremely expensive space to rebuild new or to relocate. So we're trying to really use our dollars as most effectively as we can. So the more we can kind of keep and reuse and and refurbished to kind of the updated standards, the better. We have basically a pot of money we have to spend, so we're trying to spend that as wisely as we can. We begin to lay the building out into basically 4 pods. We've set up, the school will now have a preschool. So we've set up a preschool kindergarten pod. We have a first through second pod, 3 through 5. And this would be the middle school pod. As part of those pods, we have the Lego and maker spaces. Right now, those were kind of shoehorned into some rooms upstairs. These will be new spaces. We're thinking those, because they're a core part of the STEM program, kind of create a nice focal area for the pods. We have one by the elementary. And then we have these kind of flex or breakout areas. So when they do the little projects, the bridges, the cars, things like that, they don't have to, or aren't confined to the room. They can go out into the hallway. And these will be, I've done several STEM schools. These really become kind of a nice little focal spot. And especially the STEM program, the kids like to kind of go out in the hallway and collaborate and break out. So those spaces I find are really used quite often. And we're going to be doing a new LMC, which kind of opens out onto the park area. So in a nutshell, that's kind of where we're at. We're relocating and doing an admin area right now, being buried in the building. It really doesn't meet today's security standards because anybody besides buzzing in has a free fall to the building. So the idea is the receptionist will have direct visual access to anybody coming to the building. There will still be an iPhone system to get into the building. This will be a secured lobby, so they can't get any farther than the lobby, and that's really key. Unfortunately, in today's schools, that's an important thing. So in a nutshell, that's kind of where we're at. We're just kind of our shared spaces. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, middle school. So what we're trying to do is there's a big, a big difference between a kindergartner and an 8th grader. So we're really trying to keep those guys separated, but yet they'll have some interactions in the center part of the school, which I think benefits both the younger kids and the
So before we move on to the next part, I really just want to thank Margie, Kim, Paul, for really trying to consider the needs of our STEM program and what we do here. The makerspace, the Lego labs, the flex areas, the multiple science rooms and elementary science room. Those are really unique spaces and needs to do what we do at this school. So I appreciate them being very flexible with their thinking when it comes to a program and really meeting our needs. So thank you guys for taking our feedback in consideration and just really trying to work with us. All right, so the next part, your feedback from today is going to be shared with the design team. We are obviously not set in stone per se, right? There's still a little bit of flexibility, feedback that we want to hear from you on that. More eyes on these floor plans, the better. There's, even today, as I'm looking at that, I'm already thinking of new things that I haven't shared yet. So your feedback will be shared. And we will hold on the new building will be after the election. Because that's when it gets real and that's when things are going to start happening really quickly. Right? This isn't a bond meeting. I'm sure you've all been educated about the bonds. We're not going to spend time talking about that. I know I've offered a couple of sessions about that. So hopefully you're well versed and educated about the bond. This is where the exciting stuff happens. So as we break out, you're going to be trying to look at the floor plans and giving feedback on, wow, what are you really excited about? What are you jazzed about? Great idea. Love this. Love how this looks. And then questions, ideas, things that you want us to consider that, again, like I said, every time I look at this, I'm like, that I'm wondering or catching, okay? So that's why we need your eyes on this as well to give us that feedback. Okay, before we break out, any general questions? Yes, Amy?
You see the last thing here?
Yes.
Conclusion?
Yep. Fall of 2018, ideally, if the time frame stays the way we're hoping it will, and we don't have multiple blizzards, right, and then other impacts. Fall of 2019, we will move out of the lower part of the building because the new wing will be made and ready in middle of 2017 school year. And we will relocate to that space as well as the gym and what we currently have as the tech labs and some of the lab space. And then this should be ready to move in fall of 2019. Any other general questions?
I understand how you do the first portion and the second portion, but about the center portion, is that all renovated? That doesn't make sense to me, like the whole lockdown goes up. But we're not in there.
That will happen when the bond passes, that will happen this summer. So that will be the very first thing to happen, will be that civil portion.
Okay, that makes more sense.
60-day miracles.
Oh God, it's gonna be a miracle.
Yeah, it will be.
Good question.
So then that would be, like, we wouldn't see any construction or anything started until after the school year, or would we see stuff started?
Oh, no, so kind of what Tracy was alluding to, if everything happens ideally, there's the tricky part with this building is when to transition kids. Because the reality is there's really only 2 times we can move the kids, and that's either Christmas break or that's gonna be summer. Because we even looked at spring break, and it's just not worth kind of moving the kids and really disrupting their schedule for about 4 to 6 weeks until summer is out.
Especially around testing.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Right now, we have great results.
Come on. So that's the difficult part. And that's where our schedule, ideally, like I said, ideally will be opening in 2018. It's all going to be dependent upon can we get those 2 transition times, and that'll be the key factor. Did I get to your question, or was there another part that I missed?
But I think you'll see construction trailers here in the
April.
Yeah, in the spring.
If this passes, ideally, I want to start, and this is, I haven't quite told Paul and his design team yet. I would love to start moving dirt, doing the demo package, and really start doing the structural package and the civil package and moving dirt in April of this coming year.
I have a question. I apologize, I was late, so I kind of missed a little bit of. So this is the new plan that we had settled on? Because last time I was here, you had the original.
Providing some feedback on a couple of different site options, yep.
And so this is the settled plan?
As far as the site plan, yes.
There's continued adjustments being made. I mean,
Yeah.
so the traffic, it's really more around traffic than it is the actual footprint of the building now. So we're continuing to try to find that just right balance. There's a new loop in there that we haven't talked about yet. I saw it about an hour ago. It's like, oh, that's a really good idea. I really like that loop. Hopefully it fits. So,
Any other questions? Okay, general question.
One of the preschools.
Probably fall of 2018 if everything else falls into place.
Depending on when the preschool classrooms are brought on board.
Okay.
So as soon as the construction of the preschool classrooms are ready to go, then whatever sequence of the project does, that's when we.
So in order to answer a little bit more of that, that will definitely be after it's all said and done, because where the kindergarten and the preschool classrooms are located right now, that will be the temporary office admin suite while construction is going on, because Tracy and their office suite will be one of the last things built. So we haven't even talked to Tracy about that yet, surprise!
That's okay, I heard the word sweet. You had me at sweet.
So real quick before we're done, I want to address the traffic issues too, because I know that's a real pain for everyone. Right now, the district we are still looking at busing options for this school as well as Holster. These would be our only magnet schools in the district that would be eligible for busing. We're doing feasibility studies on that right now, and what that would look like and how that would impact bell schedules and route packages. But because we have 2 drive-in magnet schools in this community that are so close together, the superintendent is really committed to trying to figure out some ways to alleviate that pain, and busing is one of those ways we can do that, as long as we have a lot of ridership. So we are looking at that, as well as continuing to look at maybe staggering start times a little bit more and things like that. So we're looking outside the box, in addition to just trying to queue traffic and give people more space and more places to put their cars on our property to get them off the street, but we're also looking at different options too, transportation for both facilities.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes.
Just quick on that, is this drop-off is sort of one drop-off loop, everybody get them online and,
One line,
yeah.
ideally, open the doors at the green area,
And
everybody, no big parks, open doors, move on.
How good go?
Open doors, move on. Open, shut up, move on. And we would have to work around allowing all students in the building at once. We don't hold them outside. So they would get dropped off and everybody walks in, goes to the classrooms. And we'd have more supervision within the building rather than the 8 to 12 people I have currently outside the building. So we'd have a few people where ideally we want them to be dropped off, making sure kids walk to the front doors, and then they would go to the classrooms. And all the teachers, yes, right now, that's what it looks like it would be.
And when they're coming inside, they're coming in before 8:50, is that right? So that they're not all flooding.
Ideally, yes. If we kept with the exact same time frame, doors would open up at 7:45. The bell would ring at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
That's something we need to still coordinate with the district and staff.
Is this also adding classrooms, so like there'd be 3?
Once it's fully constructed. So after phase 2, we would have the ability to go to 3 rooms. And obviously, we have the student need for that.
You said, can you imagine just talking K-12? So what would?
Sorry, I get it as I go, which I'm a business guy now, maybe use that often. but-
3 classrooms per grade level.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so you would have 3 second grades.
It would be roughly 720-ish, I think, at that point, right around 720.
Does that include preschool numbers?
That does not include preschool numbers. The preschool piece, honestly, is, I mean, I know we've been having conversations about it, but that is a new piece to me, and staffing and enrollment and size, so that's a new piece for me.
I just want to keep the level setting too about preschool, just so that you have it in your mind. This is not going to be a preschool designed for the just STEM community. There may be STEM programming occurring at the preschool, but it would be a preschool that would serve students in the district. And hopefully centered similarly around this area. But one of the things is, we have a real shortage of preschool spaces. And so instead of building standalone preschool centers in the bond package, and even if we don't have the bond, we are looking at adding preschool into sites where we would either be adding on or with schools that have empty classrooms, because we have such a need. So, Teresa, are there going to be 2 preschool classrooms here?
Yes.
So each preschool classroom would have about 16 students in the AM and in the PM. So those numbers wouldn't be counted exactly into the enrollment count, and you don't get credit for those percents. But counted in terms of people coming to school. Like, it would be 32 more people dropping kids off. So that is why we're considered drop-offs and pickup, is adding more kids. When those preschool kids get priority, this is typically what happens is when you have a preschool in a school location, you start to love that school environment. And so I'm not saying we have not walked forward enough to talk about priority programming, but I would just say that they were probably many they would necessarily priority right. Because they're attending a district preschool program, not in STEM. Right, is that I just want to clarify that, so.
Thank you.
Everybody knew.
Honestly, new information every single day. So thank you for asking about the preschool. It is.
Before we go, can I say, I apologize, I have to leave early tonight. I'm going to City Council over at Gordon, trying to this, but I've had the opportunity to participate in PBLs in this building a couple of times a year. And I want to tell you what an amazing group of people you are. This building is not designed to deliver the quality or the type of education that you were delivering. And you're doing amazing work with what you have. And I just want to thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for letting me come to this PBL.
All right, so at this point, we're going to break out into 2 tables. And this is an opportunity, I know there's a lot of staff members here, but I really want the parents to be able to cluster around the tables, look at the floor plans, give input through their lens. And you're focusing on 4 different areas. You can always contribute more, but we would like you to try and look at the floor plans through the lens of student flow. What looks exciting about that? What ideas do you have about that you can give us? And when we say student flow, it means like internally through the building, or maybe even just getting out to the proposed playground area. So try and think of it through that lens. The next one is our unique spaces. Need I say more? Our Lego spaces, our plethora of science labs, our maker spaces, our gyms, which every school has a gym. But some of those unique spaces, the LMC, how's that going to be used? So look at those unique spaces. That's what we mean by unique spaces. Student drop-off and pickup, please. Feel free to give input on that. And then just the overall site.
LMC.
Library Media Center. Thank you. Sorry.
I was like, lay down.
Yeah. Stretching. Okay. Does that make sense? All right, so I trust that as adults, you guys can kind of divvy yourselves up into these 2 areas. We have facilitators helping lead the conversation. We're only going to do this breakout for about 25 minutes.